Gonna be a contestation at Lonely as well. I'm not sure if we've seen this every single game. A few more spots gonna be opening up, and Misha actually finds long-range elims to start things off. This is where we'll see a little bit more aggression towards these early spawn fights. I think people are done trying to play 50-50. Will they, won't they? They're trying to figure out these situationships off spawn.
Yeah, I think the problem here at Lonely is that a lot of times you want to see these fights close out a bit quicker. If you're not, though, things can get awkward, especially if you don't pull zone. Thankfully, though, they have been pulling quite a fair amount of zones, right? Literally every single zone has been towards that northern area, but the Siren, for me, lad, even if they can't win out the fight, just being able to get out with what they have would be nice. Of course, one of the benefits of Lonely is a bunch of metal here that you can farm up, making it one of those stronger POIs. Ooh,
Already. Nice try. I think. Okay. Oh. So that's how it happens sometimes. Later has to live this one. Just for the sake of running these mental, and yes, he's going to be able to get it back up. That is Surge Week 11. I would not come back to Fortnite. That is my retiring game. Not even Game 5. I'm done. Yeah,
that was a bit of a howler, but thankfully for him later was ready and waiting to save the day, as you do.
Chala and Arc, the pressure on them to just hold that top 5 spot. Siren and Milad looking to see what they can do next. Users up in the business. I think Pink and Nebs need to get out of this top 5. I think this is the last game they play.
You think so?
Yeah, because I see that zone. It's inching towards the south. Possibly.
I'm feeling a bit of a western one, but definitely more southern. At least for now. It could still pull all the way up there towards the Citadel.
That's true.
Which we literally saw it do in Game 1. I believe that was the zone we had, right? So too soon to speak. Second zone will be crucial in telling how this one goes. This fight, though, still just drawing out.
It's even crazy right now. Have a little bit of a situation where they might just be overheating from their last win. Might be high on nerves a little bit more. I'm not sure about you personally, Levin. But when there's an insane clutch opportunity, when there's a 10 elim ending, after the fact going into the game prior, no?
Yeah, even me, right? I don't get nervous, but, you know, I start to get a little bit shaky, you know what I mean? A little bit awake.
You gotta be careful and make sure they don't feel like they're, you know, 200 effective HP out of their mind with the best loadouts with unlimited mats. You got to be able to differentiate between game to game.
But sometimes the best players, even if they aren't, they believe they are, and then you just start hitting the shots, things start landing. Of course, you do have the aim to match that sort of ambition.
Big thing right now, though, is they're just slowing down the pace, regardless of their confidence. They're making sure, for some reason, in this game, after everything everyone's learned, they want a slow fight off spawn. They know something we don't. What do they know?
You don't expect to see it here in EU. You do not expect to see it here in EU, but nevertheless, when it comes down to it, we are here in the penultimate game. Desperation starts to kick in. I think we've seen that across other regions where players get even more timid in these last couple games just because they know the opportunities are running out.
Conan and Winter have their spot of rolling in through Brutal Bastion, sometimes a little bit over towards the left. Now, really just owning that POI. Absolute barbarians on that north side. Misha Bandwise still rocking it through. One of the only fights we're seeing so far where there's actual 2v2 with set loot on the first side. Misha not going to find much yet. No cone on top, so it's an easy slide down bottom and a quick pickup to end the fight on Ziandi.
I mean, I'm really lost for words, Shayo. Ziandi and Chafix, these are players good enough to be playing at the global championship at the end of the year, you'd think, and they're not even going to make it to the finals of Major 1 as it currently stands unless something changes. And so you expect these players to be the leaders of the lobby, the ones setting the trends, setting the pace, but Faulty's been just too difficult to handle, and understandably with just how many teams are here, you see it right now. One fight concludes, another one begins. And then this pendulum of battles. Isha, who was just looking so good after picking up an elim, he eventually falls as well now. So the cycle continues.
It feels like they are just getting lost to that momentum of every team around them. The back and forth sway. Uruguay also going down previously in that fight. Let's see the perspective of that. They were just caught with their pants down. Excalibur in the back. Now on to Z Andy. This is surprising. The issue they had in the weeks, Levin, is the fact that they would make it off spawn, they'd be fine, but they wouldn't be able to make it through their end games. They were actually fine moving through faulty. So now it's quite the opposite. A shot to the board and a complete miss.
Yeah, it's not great when you see a former champion like Chapix getting awareness checked like that.
Big thing, too, when it comes to Nebs on screen right now. You're mentioning Uguay. You're mentioning Henan and Us. That's 3 duels, Levin. We have 2 games to play. At max, one of these is not making it in.
Hey, look, do you remember? Pink and Nevs are currently in top 5 for consistency, so they could go through in that way. This game, Henan and Us. Next game, we're doing O'Reilly, all Chapix and Ziandi.
No O'Reilly Vidal. I must have forgot. I must have forgot.
There's 4, Levin. There's not enough slots.
There's no space, Levin.
There's not enough space. You're right. You're right.
Legends, Levin.
You're right. Somebody has to say bye-bye today, and it could be multiple of them, right? Because we still have so many of these different teams in the lobby that have been very impressive. Swizzy and Shamoki here on our screens, they came second place in one of the earlier games. They might look to come through and roll up with the big win this time round.
Yeah, for the first half of all these games, they look in championship form.
Yeah.
When it comes to dealing with pressure, they look in championship form. Winning games might be a little bit of a different situation, but if they play like they are now for the 12 games in finals, if they make it there, huge. Another team that deserves it. Noms and Chap, a little bit of a difference. They are really good at these 2v2s that happen towards the mid-game. Isolated. As soon as you put zone in the pressure zone, the question, they start to falter a little bit. So you'll notice in this fight, they might have the advantage back and forth. Chap actually going down, so as a duo, synergy just not there yet. Mahi also kind of expressing this fight, going really fast, straight for the chop, forcing Nom to fall down. Fishy going to be looking to cover that angle too. Textbook plays here from this duo to cover pressure. Not even building a single floor, wall, ramp, just shots. And
you gotta hit the shot, Mahi.
Cosmo so far. Every time there's a dope play happening, J-Slam's in a box watching. Every time there's one duel being eliminated, J-Slam has his feet up in a very good spot, which is not part of the conversation. 134 points, 6th place overall. Could rock in. He's right there. If a team wins in that top 5, J-Slam closer to quality. If they have one more good game, J-Slam closer to quality.
Yeah, they have been consistent. Not quite consistent enough to be in that top 5, right? But like you said, if the likes of a Pink and Nebs do have that kind of game where they move on out of this top 5 position and move on out of the lobby, it would do wonders for Jay and Cosmo.
And the weakness of this major so far, the times I've seen Pink and Nebs truly go for that win, they're way deep into the zone already on a high ground position. Still on the edge here in Frenzy Farms. I'm wondering exactly what the game plan is for Pink and Nebs. Crazy and Perceive might have done something very creative in that first game. They try to go for that same type of situation, but Siren was ready. They are down.
That's really nice. Of course, these guys were fighting it out at Lonely Labs to start the game. And they eventually disengaged, like Mini Miner told us, but clashing heads later on in the game. And the zone will pull towards that central area of this one, and so a bit of a journey for them to make once they finish this little fishing excursion they're going on, of course, using that jelly angler augment.
No way.
Jay down on Surge, though. This is not what they can afford to let happen. They have been a team who has been relatively consistent, but they need to keep that if they have any chance of qualifying.
This is the game where they need a performance. This game puts them in top 5. This game locks them in for the finals. They cannot go down here, and they're trying to face the first place team. Literally, the lobby holders, the lobby leaders, the gatekeepers, pushing them back. How many times have we seen T'Challa and Ark deal with a team that has Surge and not even break a sweat?
Yeah, but the thing is, T'Challa, they know that this team's desperate, and so it would be unwise to let them have anything for free, and you're seeing that in the way they're playing it. They're not letting them get an inch. Ark, T'Challa, they already pick up Cosmo, and Jay might look to follow as well. Play this so well. When you know a team is desperate for Storm Surge, desperate to take a fight, you don't give them what they want. You make them work for it. You make them fight for it. That's exactly what they did. Expose them in that moment. Brilliantly done from Ark and T'Challa.
Make them work, get paid very well. J-Slam might just wait around to see what he can do next. Shimoki, Swizzy wiping the sweat off their foreheads after seeing the feed. Swizzy then once again asks for a towel as the sweat comes back. He gets beamed down. But the big thing to focus on is that 6th place team is taken out. Top 5 can breathe a sigh of relief.
I think a good thing as well for Shimoki and Swizzy, they can make their way to zone really easily. Of course, they have that bridge they can use for some cover as well as they make their way across the river. The mats are looking mighty fine as well for them, for Hen and Nas. Things aren't quite looking as hot, but not necessarily down in the dirt for them. Of course, that hammer will go a long way. The materials aren't too bad either. Barely above on Surge. I think they'll be hoping they can pull a favorable zone for the 4th. That will go a long, long way.
I feel like they have an arch nemesis duo in this game. I've seen Fakey at a very, very huge build somewhere central on the map. Whenever Hen and Nas move, they get beamed from like 200 meters away. It's like the 3rd game I've seen that in a different zone. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe they're just similar in the way they rotate. Time and time again, beams from Maximilian. Oh man, does not miss. Locked in for the moment. Making Marco pay for that rotation.
Yeah, he'll definitely be locked in, right? With his teammate down, he needs to be at his very best. Noah Riley, for deal. All the eyes were on them last game, and Noah Riley had to come up big with a clutch. Still not right in the wrongs of the previous games. Down below on Surge. How many times have we said that? Not just even here today, but this season in previous matches as well when they've competed with each other. Never quite getting that formula to work. And again, having some struggles. Pink and Nebs looking to try and chop these guys up from above them. I don't think they have a clue what's going on. Now a bit more clued up to it. But they're still going to keep on going. They want to try and find these guys. A refresh would be very welcomed in this position with their Surge situation.
Still desperate people all around them. You got to be careful. That chop makes you so exposed. Hen and Nas waiting right by their side. What a shot from Nebs!
Nebsy boy hitting a big, big shot there. Okay, that's nice.
92 above. I understand why they're going for that shot for the moment. They've been in such a comfortable spot overall. Maximilian forcing the Elam down. Every point will matter for now. He gets close and comfortable too.
This guy's a monster.
1v2.
This guy is a monster.
Look at where he's going to. There's like 8 duos here. Maximilian doesn't care. And he's here. Look at his match. Look at his threshold for search. That's not like Mickey Mouse. This is nuts.
Is he just gonna hammer back to where he was as well? He is. Oh, this guy is great. I love this. I love this. A nice little 1v2 there before his game continues. And he means that as a solo, he's making the plays happen. He's not scared. Skydude.
Oh my God.
Never scared in those kind of situations. Big damage being dealt onto Nefreezy.
Nefreezy full eliminated too, so Lucio was already down. Skydude does not want to be locked down all the way towards the back. He gets both actually, so Skydude's just built different right now. Ooh. And has the laws of aviation on his side.
You hate when that happens though, right? When you hammer yourself and it just starts going a different way.
I mean, look at where they are now though. And they get to reform too. A gift from the gods, Skydude and Cherry in the perfect spot.
I'm sure he'll tell everyone he planned that.
Nebs didn't plan this though. Waiting to see what they can get. Everyone in zone. Donut of players around the circle. No one in the middle. No one wants to take that chance just yet. Fights all around. They need the surge. Nebs caught out once again. No more shields left. No more defensive options. His mat's running low. This is the all-in. All the nerves. Pink down. You can feel it. Missed edits. Zone locking in. Where does it land is the question. It's away. It's way too far. This is trouble for Nebs.
This needs to be a big game as well. So many of the competitors in that top 5 are down. This isn't the kind of game where they want to slip up. They want to make something happen. If he can get the res off, that would be great in terms of the man advantage. But there is that team right beneath him, and they know, yeah, they find Pink, they connect, and they know where he is as well. He's going to eventually get dropped down. He needs to get out of that floor. He needs to get up above a cone. And it's actually Hen and Nas picking up some revenge on his old teammate. And that's exactly what they needed. They needed a refresh. They needed to get up above on Surge. And now just going to use that just to scout about, figure out where Nebs is precisely before they start to plan their rotation.
Forget about Nebs to start to move. Every time they open up a box, it's a duo. 100,000 meters away, beaming him. Looks like an Austin Hen don't even get to play the same game as everyone else. And this is tough. So a bunch of ground to cover. So many duels already locked in on the way. Fakey looking at them all the way from the top side across. They'll use the trees as cover as they move in. Alien and Hardfine on the right. They're taking their time. Now hammered all the way in, but 4 different beams hitting and stopping them. They cannot achieve their dreams today. 261 above, they have time to move, but they're running out of mats.
One of the last teams to rotate, and you're seeing how it's affecting them. All of these teams set up perfectly in zone to just hold them from getting in. They eventually split up, and Hen, unfortunately, just does not have what it takes to manage that. And Nas moving beneath him. Maybe it would have been better for them to both take the path Nas took, because he at least had some cover from the rest of the lobby. Nevertheless, though, we talked about having to have a big game and big solo clutches. And Nas is going to have to do just that in this one.
This is not a solo clutch. This is an impossible situation. So far in Surge Week today, for EU, we've seen duos act together until that 7th zone where a solo can clutch. If I count correctly, this is zone 5 moving to 6. And Anas is already alone. Haven't seen anyone run from that spot today.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult, especially with the likes of Leo and Fakey up above, because they'll be looking to pick up all the struggling solos lurking in the zone.
They have no chance to really hit that top 5. Leo, Fakey looking to win this game from the spot.
The setup is there for them to do it. They have height, they have the pad. Have to work with Maximilian. Even with all his heroics, still down beneath on Surge. And moving into a position that would be nice if you were a duo. Of course, he is here alone. And he's waiting for all these other players to glide their way on in. He needs to connect. He can't afford to miss those. Of course, just holding out that wall, wary of all the potential hammers that could shake up his box. Skydude and Destru, they're going to now look to hammer their way on in. Even with low HP, they just have to make the move. They can't afford to wait any longer.
T'Challa also in his own spot surviving, and Ott's finally down. You see Krusty also fall as Cherry finds his way to the grave. Every single person 4 HP. Skydude cannot get it done. Too much HP on these players down below. ADN and Hardfine The duo we expected to just coast, take control of EU.
They sit in the prime position, but can they hold on to it is the question. Running low on materials, and so gonna have to start looking to drop down and make plays. Maximilian, he's still alive as a solo in this one. We question whether or not he'd be able to do it. He's been a solo for much longer than anybody else in this lobby, it feels, but he's still making things happen.
Every duo focused box to box. No one's gonna be able to find Maximilian just yet. Lobby falling silent on Elins. This is just Giardini picking up on one of his finished Elins. A big chop on the height for Adian and Hardfine. Side coming. Meanwhile, bottom right, low list, DKS. Low ground, kind of empty as everyone just immediately moves towards the zone. Scoozy, Maximilian up inside the same box, the second and third, as Anki goes straight all the way for a high ground play. Gold finds him too, so Hardfine, Adian, give it up as they find 5th place.
It doesn't look like they have the kind of hammer to be able to make the play where you just shockwave yourself back up, and so they just have to give it up. They don't really have a say, don't really have a choice, or so they do. A chop does come out, but Gold does have the hammer, and so he can move to the front side and keep a hold of it.
Hitting stairs, getting all the way to where he needs to be. Call it luck, call it skill. The fact is he's here, and he's holding high ground now. 2 more shockwaves to be able to defend. Relvis looking up once again. Lost Questy a while ago, but has a chance to box in. Absolute precision. Can he follow though? A spray onto Perth, not gonna be possible. Relvis left with a lot of mats to still play with.
Some nice piece control there from Relvis. He's gonna have to do a lot more of that.
Maximilian still finding a few more. 8 more builds left, 3 eliminations. He can survive. This is a big possibility. He needs to find one more body full of mats. Luther found one in front of him. Maximilian has the drop. Everyone else is distracted. Up, down, beside and below. Maximilian looking for his next move. He can move up. It has to be the absolute correct play. Has the hammer too, but chooses to follow. Oh my god, the composure from Maximilian, but a surprise in the box as T'Challa, the king, takes him down.
Arkin T'Challa, always going to be that roadblock for anybody
Chaos!
that wants to have something in this lobby.
CZB just opens it up. Nipsey and Grams just found a few to make this play possible. 5 Elins in total from the bottom of the boards. Relvis also absolutely raised in his own box. T'Challa holding his own.
Raxi now, they're running low in materials. They're going to have to make a play. There are plenty of teams up and around them.
And Ark's going to be left by himself. DKS also on the same layers, taking down T'Challa. The first time we're seeing this man in a solo clutch this early. I know it's the 9th zone, but usually this duel survives all the way until the top 2, the top 4. We're in that situation right now. Raxi rolling in with Cizro. A bunch of these players not near that top 5. They need this win.
This is a desperate situation for all of them. They need to maximize their opportunities. And a big crash is coming. You've got to think that at some point, especially down below, they're all going to run into each other. They're all running low on mats. It's going to be about holding out these shotguns.
Ground getting elevated. It's going to be so tough. No room to move, no room to breathe. Cizro looking for it first. Goes for a shot. Not going to be possible. He gets bots. DKS and Lolis, they've been here. Molded. Brewing in the low ground, waiting for the next shot in. Lolis just knows, but he doesn't get the siphon. It's Nipsey up top. They're completely chopping everyone down, including themselves. CZB is looking to just rail this one in. It's one opponent towards the end, just DKS.
They're running low on mats themselves. They just need to connect with the shot. They have the hammer. They know they can go up if needed. They just got to hit the shot, and that's what they'll do. Can he take him out? He can. DKS is no match. Nipsey and CZB win the game.
The composure from this duo. They just stayed absolutely through so many different atrocities on spawn, issues with Surge. They have the one game. They have the chance to get their win.
I think the good thing about that game for them was that there was just so much carnage taking place beneath them, but still so many full duos who had to clash heads. They could just sit there and wait for everyone to bump into each other. And of course, the zone a bit favorable, moving up and down this weird little elevation. And so when they ran out of mats, the timing was perfect. They could just swoop in and clean up.
Everyone else overthinks, overheats, the pressure getting to them in game 4. Nipsey, CZB, they act. And when you act, you win, and you're straight off to the finals.
We talked about it. So many of those teams nowhere near contention to be able to actually qualify on consistency. A win was all that would be possible. They are the ones to swoop through.
Absolutely. And for the fans watching at home, that's another spot taken away from the likes of the greats. Hananas, Uguay, impossibilities for every single person you're a fan of to make it in, and that makes the Grands even more exciting.
Hey, look, there is still one more chance for these players. Who will it be? Frankie, let us know.
I wish I could let you know, but unfortunately, my crystal ball is currently at the workshop having repairs. But right now, let's talk about who did just get a victory royale, because Nipsey and CZB, I mean, they had the high ground and they got the timing perfectly right onto when to drop down and take that fight to Carter.
Look, DKS was the last one up. It looked like he had a challenge, but it was a mission, which is not an easy one at all. I mean, the CZB Nipsey really just showed their dominance in those last moments from above. It didn't look like DKS had much of a chance to take it home in that last match, but the good news is he has one more opportunity.
Yeah, David, you're used to being in these crazy clutch situations. What did you make of the plays from Nipsey and CZB?
I am actually over the moon that Nipsey has managed to win Game 4 because Nipsey, in fact, is Irish. So, we'll have an Irish player competing in the grand finals. I'm over the moon with that. He's been grinding for so long, so I'm very happy to see he's won this game. I know CZB is an insane player mechanically, so it's not really a surprise that they've won this game, to be honest.
Well, if we take a look at the leaderboard, it's interesting, though, because there's a duo we haven't really spoken about too much yet to Carter, T'Challa and Ark. They came 17th in week 3. They certainly caught our attention back then. But did you have any idea back then they'd be grabbing the top of the standings too?
Look, it's a gap between first and second place. 266 points for T'Challa and his duo partner, and 182 for second place. I mean, the dominance that they have been showing throughout these 4 matches, it's on another level.
There's absolutely no fear from these two, David.
Absolutely no fear. I mean, I personally haven't heard of these names, but I am extremely impressed with their performance today. They've basically already guaranteed themselves a spot for the grand finals, considering they're in first place and there's only 1 game remaining. So they must be over the moon right now.
Well, here's the interesting thing, because if these two do get themselves a victory royale, then of course the whole standings move up. So Swizzy and Shimoki, they could be in with a shot because they came out the gate fighting, perhaps slow down a little bit in the most recent games.
Look, I also want to bring up Pink and Nebs. They're on the cutoff right now, the borderline. 5th place spot, 162 points, just a little above 4 points of a difference. It's a 6-point difference between 5th and 6th place. So Pink and Nebs really have to make sure that they get out the early game, they get out the mid game, they keep in mind Storm Surge and at least get enough points to maintain that spot on the leaderboard, because it's either qualifying through consistency or it's winning this last match, but it's only one more opportunity to get the VR.
And if we take a look at the placement points so far, in 9th we've got Relvis and Krusty, but look, there's so few points between them and that top 5, and they are fighting tooth and nail to be considered for that grand final.
100%. I mean, we can see the shots that are connecting here from Krusty. You cannot miss your shots if you want to place in the grand finals. If you want to get your hands on that golden ticket, it's all about consistency and it's all about controlling your nerves. And you can see, even though Krusty went down here, his duo partner was able to clutch it up a little bit longer, taking out a NOS and even securing some placements.
I know he's not on the leaderboard, but I kind of want to give a cheeky shout out to Maximilian, because he survived for so many zones after going down. But you've got to hand it to Relvis here, David. He is positioning himself so well that everything is chaos around him.
Yes, I've played versus this duo multiple times within tournaments. They are very good. They're very committed to the game. They improve from their mistakes, and they have a very likely chance of qualifying for the grand finals today. They just need a little bit of a good game in the last one, or a win. That will also work.
Would you give it to them above any of the other guys who are currently above them in the standings?
That's a good question. I've seen Swizzy and Shimoki. They've been playing very good today. We all obviously want to see Pink and Nebs take home the qualification. I would be very disappointed if they don't, but anyone's got a chance.
And you are so experienced in these situations. I mean, you have kind of left it to the last moment to qualify for the grand finals before, David.
Yes, I've actually qualified through reboot round when there's only been 3 chances. So that was like absolutely hype. It was in the last game. So I know the feeling that whichever duo is about to qualify, they're going to be over the moon. They're going to have the best night ever, knowing that they've got their spot in the grand finals. It's an amazing feeling. So I'm looking forward to see who gets it.
I mean, I'm already having the best night ever, and it's not even finished yet. We do have one more game, one more victory royale to give our teams a guaranteed ticket to the grand finals, and then we'll also tot up the standings as well for those placement points. Do you think it's going to be an absolute pop-off game, though, David, this final one?
In the final game, anything can happen because there's teams that are lower on the leaderboards, so they need a victory royale because there's no chance they qualify through consistency. So there's going to be a bunch of teams that are going to be going crazy, trying to take high ground, trying to get the refreshes, set them up for the end game. there's honestly anything that can happen in this game, so I'm very excited to see it.
David, can you just...
Give him a high five.
Yeah! High five! Game number 5.
It's time for the Gigabanger game, Game 5 of Surge Week on EU.
Everything comes down to this moment. The last time we will see so many of these teams here in the FNCS Major 1. It is your time to make it count.
Favorites following the underdogs rise. One more chance for the top 5 to also hold on to their spot. It's not a guarantee level.
And look, with so many of our tier 1 names and big name players still needing to qualify, there isn't enough space on the battle bus for everybody in the finals. Somebody will fall out of it. Who will it be in this game?
Hey, the seats are getting a little bit claustrophobic. The bus is filling up with just gaseous air. It's gonna be tough for all these teams to just kind of move through the mist. This is gonna be a big.
Hey, look, Frankie said she was already having the best night ever. The best night still yet to come. We have one game left to secure a spot in the FNCS final. That will truly be some nights to remember, but in the meantime, you have to get it done here. And still so many of these stories needing to be wrapped up.
Here we go. Lucia and DeFreezy right off spawn. The first ones to land on the entire island, looking for a few shots, and Lucia does not miss. A few shots, not gonna hit. That would have been huge for him. Tracking both players, they have advantage.
And the problem with this team, right, is that way down there in the standings, they need to have a big game. This is a team that many people would have expected to win a game.
Absolutely. YZY and Egram thought there would be a little bit of potential here. One more person to go down. This is their last chance to rocket. 2 up top. Hyrax, the king of the north, down. Shimoki finding a few too. Zero looking to see exactly what he can do in this clutch. Hyrax taken out by Skyzoo as well. Every off-spawn fight accelerated. It's like a speedster's taking control, and everyone's running so fast they can't stop.
And we've seen at times, right, these off-spawn battles just last way, way longer as a result of these intense final moments. Still though, we're yet to see things completely wrap up. Slow things down, but not in the case here. You want to get things done quickly. I'm sure Raxi will be egging him on to win the fight, get it done quickly and get him back up into the game. Egram won't want to let that happen though, and he has to be on the defensive, create some space.
Cicero looks faster, hammering both players out. YZY up to a different space though. The reboot here, the Zero's game could be saved. Watch the best to farm.
Oh, wow.
He can't build a floor. 89 HP though, still a possibility. I'm thinking Impulse, Excalibur, you have to go for it. But he's blocked off the top now. Could find a way, and Egram actually goes through first. The absolute chutzpah for the man. The courage he's looking for the next shot here, but this is tough.
Yeah, Egram, he's going to try to close things out. He realizes probably that he likely has the advantage when it comes to shields. Just the extra time, though, that has been spent means that playing field's a bit more even in that regard. Also going to take the time to make use of those augments, unlock his first one of the game.
It's like watching 2 heavyweight fighters in like a 10th round. These guys are gassed. All the momentum kind of gone from the fight. I'm surprised there wasn't just a complete jump up from the side of Egram. Why he's even looking for defense, but it might just be because of the sights and the extra shields that Cicero will get. Chini, big shots up top. Everyone just a bit more desperate, lacking care into getting within their spots. Ron not having the easiest time either, but stopping one at the door. Teeny not letting him have the highlight reel.
Some revenge in this last game. Of course, Teeny didn't quite win that fight in game 4. Here in game 5, turning things on its head.
Shimoki with a few of those eliminations off spawn already taking over Pink and Nebs in 5th place currently off of this game. Egram still following Cicero. Cherry's made it here and Egram doesn't know.
Final i någon tävling nu.
Oh, he spotted him now. The loot on this man. The match too.
Oh no.
Sky.
He doesn't know. He doesn't
Gonna push
know.
them. No tracking, no shotgun. He's taking his time, Cherry. Composed, but what was Egram cooking?
Clearly nothing.
Do they know? Do they know about Cicero in the back? That's the big question.
It seems like they do, from the way they're building up here. And so, We'll see if they can actually sniff him out. He is just creeping down there below. That's the problem when you know someone's there, but you're not quite sure where they are. How long do you spend trying to find them?
Yeah, they saw one of the brick builds finish slightly later. Maximilian taken down. Astral now has to be the one to actually do the damage for the duo inside these fights. Top 5 being 200 points. A few of these duos about 40 behind. We'll need to have a good end game here. Astral taking a bit of damage, but not much else that they can really do. No mats, so we'll have to just take these shots. Gold also taking damage. No one cares about their feet, Levin. But it's okay. In game 5, you might not need them. You can run on your knees if you need to. Anything to get that win.
If you got to crawl, you'll crawl. It's your last opportunity. Astro and Maximilian, of course, we saw Maximilian with a brilliant solo clutch, outlasting many of the duos in the lobby in that last game. We need a bit more help from Astro in this one if they are to make anything of it, but we've seen all season long how difficult these Anvil battles have been. Gold, of course, has been no chump in this POI either, so we'll be patiently waiting for them to slip up, make a mistake. He knows exactly where they are. The shot will potentially be lined up here and not more damage being dealt than just the 31 tag there.
Look at the top right now. In the top 5, Crazy and Perceive. The double-digit warriors, the ones to hold down the line, have gone down and projected 200 points to stay in that top 5. They only have 182. It might not be possible for them, which would be such a heartbreak. Mahi, too, the man who can track players behind walls, gonna be stopped before he can unleash his superpower by someone doing it to himself. Blocked off by a ramp. Fishy trapped at the harbor, inside the box. Pena understands the entire fight more.
Nicely done there from Pena, of course. We've seen him have his own pop-offs. Player who's done it before in the highest of stages. Radiant and Hardfind. What can these guys do? We saw them playing for height a couple games ago. Will they get that chance again? Not if the deal has anything to do about it.
Wow.
Unfortunately for him, though, no match for Hardfind's shotgun aim. Of course, you know what he can do with that controller in hand. Picks up ADN, and now a chance to play for height again and look to win the game. We know they're going to need it if they want to qualify to the final. Top 5 won't really be an option for them, you'd like to think.
For Noah and Vidil will have to wait till Major 2 to see what they have coming up next. This time, the fight's sometimes good. The disengagements that we saw in the earlier games, amazing. The adaptation, I feel like, is the issue.
I think it's heartbreaking if you're a fan, especially of Vidil, right? Technically the reigning champion here on the Fncf stage. Not going to be able to defend that title. Will be his other half, former duo Janice, playing with Reason in the finals that will look to do that. Not for him. Back to the drawing board.
For both those players, almost, it feels like they just need someone else.
Maybe they need each other again. It doesn't seem like anyone really run from that split.
Yeah.
The team's as strong as the combination of the former champions. Pink and Anas, or Pink and Neb, sorry, he might be saying a similar thing because Pink was chilling comfortably, making it to finals consistently when playing with Anas. This time round here, just on the cusp with Nebs. They need to have a big game here if they want to qualify through.
For Anas and Hen, I mean, maybe the switch up in roles is just a bit too much to handle. Maybe it's just the drop spot for their zone. It's always the same situation. I like to see them set themselves up, or just Hen specifically, set himself up for a spot where he can actually play the game.
And if that's to happen, I don't think he should be the one IGLing, the one leading the way. Unfortunately, that's the situation he finds himself in. You don't want to ever count these guys out with how much talent they have, but from what they've shown us all season long, it's just not of the standard of the elite players we expect to see.
And now every time you get beamed down, it hurts a little bit more. Every time you lose shield, every time you stop your game plan and just recuperate back up, it might just tilt you over. And you'll fall down, and you'll be rocked. And then Dondi and Mag Runner on your box, and you're an Anas alone. Hen, down for the count. At least he'll be able to help with the calls. There's still a chance for a reboot here. It'll be huge, but Anas is by himself, and I'm not used to an FNCS finals without either player. We'll still see more. Because it's not over for Anas just yet. He has the hammer, the keg, the splashes. An isolated fight almost, but zone just a bit too far away for this one. He'd have to go to Anvil to try to get that reboot almost. Maybe the Citadel, but he'd be in circle. And up the Citadel, you can't really get into zone to get much. Uguay Z Andy. Looking really good on loot as well. Or just in terms of Uguay. I'm not sure exactly what Z Andy has, but they might have a chance to win this one. Kind of rotating like they did in Olds. Big chance right here.
Here in this last game with so many of the big names you've been discussing needing to have a big game, a win, potentially. We have Mini Miner here on the sidelines ready to update us on what they're all up to.
Thank you, Levin. Now, all of these top teams need to get into those grand finals in different ways. Uguay, look at the loot they've managed to get off spawn. A hammer off spawn is going to be so crucial. These guys need a win. Hen and Anas, of course, we just saw Hen going down. Anas is still alive. He does have that shockwave hammer, so they also need a win. A team that needs to stay in the top 5, though, it's Pink and, of course, his teammate Nebs. Now, they're, of course, getting some surge tags on the top of this base. We haven't seen them have this zone yet, so hopefully they'll be able to capitalize.
That is the biggest update we've seen. One of the most important from Mini Miner so far. Updates on the game too. On TikTok, you see some highlights, FNComp_official, if you want to follow that one up. That's the more info, just like Mini Miner's job.
Hey, look, make sure to get your pen and paper out and take note of what Mini Miner had to say there. We're going to be
click.
Following.
I'm writing.
You better be taking note of that. Of course, all those teams will be the ones with all the fans watching from home thinking, can they do it? Can they do it? I want to see them play in the finals. If you're a fan of these guys here, Suzy and Shamoki, you'll be happy with some of what you've seen from them today, but they need that big final push if they want to really solidify their spot.
It's kind of Team Nebs versus Team Shamoki. But we see Crazy going down, so maybe both sides can win in this battle.
That would be best case scenario, right? Of course, if you're Crazy, you'll be watching the rest of this game, fingers crossed, hoping that nobody is able to take your position. No guarantees there, though. They've left it up to chance.
Everyone moving in slowly. We thought the speed would actually increase. Now that they made it past the first point of the game, things start to slow down. Anvil Square will be the point of contention, though, for every single duo moving past DKS's body. We see Lane land the shot onto Lowless. He doesn't care about the duo in the way. You cannot stop the shot with your body. DKS now moving around 33 HP. A little bit of a hair can take him down. The pre-fire off the hammer through the builds. An instant snap towards the skies, and he finds DKS.
Look, I said Golden Anchor weren't to be messed around with that Anvil. They're very comfortable here, no chumps at all. And showcasing why there. Big shot there from Gold.
38 teams for the moment. I want to see that one back real quick. Lane moving in, looking for this one. Straight through. He doesn't care. Instant snap decisions. And he sends DKS into another duo.
Suzy Shamoki. Still positioned here in this Citadel area. They're going to have to start moving relatively soon. Fortunately, not too far for them. As long as the zone doesn't pull too far towards the north. Will be well versed for this game. Taking Leo. We've seen them start to heat up in the past couple of games, Shayo.
Yeah.
Is it enough to catapult them into a qualification spot?
They're playing their game plan this as a duo. And to answer your question, no. Because they are down. Lizen and Cherry up in the business. The instigators, the disruptors. Every box they go into, one less person comes out. Looks like T'Challa might be by himself too. I'm trying to look for his duo, but I don't see him right now. Just see one. They're so ahead though, they should almost be guaranteed to qualify here. Maximilian also walking around. I don't see a partner either. Lizen and Cherry, an absolute force to be reckoned with. Yeah, it looks like there is no one left. They've just taken apart some of the strongest duos in the lobby. Slove also waiting on the sidelines. Bandwise up top, the user duo. Once again, their spot inside the top 5, and everyone's just waiting that extra moment, looking for anyone to make a mistake to overpeak the kind of move, and Slove takes the brunt of their punishment.
Yeah, user 9 with a nice shot there, but needs to connect with a couple more. Norm's making use of that zip line. It's been a while since we've seen a play like that. reloading mid-fight and still hitting a big 152 there. Wow. Nicely done from Noms.
A millisecond of a difference. That could have been Noms' head. He just ducked to the bottom left to dodge the shots. Kiro and Giardini, the ones to start all the eliminations towards these end zones, are going to be the ones to move first as well as they get in. Volko and Hookah also moving through, but you can sense the tension for all these players. You can sense some of the hesitation in moving left and right. 67 above, Volko needs to find some damage soon.
Yeah, it's been rough here. You can see they've been trying to play catch up with the rest of the lobby. Way behind all these teams with not much to work with at all.
They got to move. They don't have the T'Challa stat line. They only have 134 points. They're just in the top 10. They're trying to reach top 5. They're trying to win the game. Maximilian trying to hold on, 170 points. He has to clutch about 30 points here. That's making it towards the top 10. That's getting a few eliminations. That's doing it himself.
But he's done it before. We literally saw him last game in a very similar situation with a solo. Asking him to do it 2 times in a row would be a very tough task, a very big ask, but not something out of possibilities. They currently hold a spot in that top 5. But he needs to just stay alive as long as he can to hold on for more. What do we have here, though? And that's an end in the zone.
Take two. The director's cut. This is Anas doing this for a second game in a row. Will it work this time? Or will it be another deleted scene? Anas going to hand all the way back now. Shockwaving straight in the zone. Have to go for a bit more. These mats will not last towards the total end portion of the game, but they just need to stabilize right now. About 30 duels around them, and they're pushing for height. 380 mats. Is this the right way to move, Anas? That's the question. Every duel, a spotlight. Just shine on center stage. And it's just too bright for Hen. He moves back a little bit. He's down again. Safe for now, but Anas is running out of mats. 100. Gonna be down to 50 soon. Then misting, making it look like zone 9 inside the 4th. Absolute trouble for the guild duo.
I never thought I'd be saying the lights are too bright for these two star names of the region, and it just hasn't been good. You saw up there, and that's Hen. They tried to build, make themselves look big and strong, but with nothing but wood, it was very obvious what they were really packing.
Hen has a few mats though. Has to stick this for 10. Has to try anything, but too many eyes, and the greats fall.
Hen and Anas. That will be the end of the road, the end of the season for this duo. 2 titans in the EU region who just haven't quite been able to put things together. Everything falling apart for them when it mattered the most. Pink and Nebs will be hoping they don't have a similar fate, but they are well on their way to doing that if they can't have a big game here. All these chunk splashes will be very useful in keeping them alive as long as possible as they make their move on now. Nebs just there, waiting.
Everyone now has to move up the glacier. Have to elevate to a different section, a different dimension of map. This bottom side will not last for too long, especially if that zone moves up top. Maximilian down below by himself, User, and his duo looking to just...
powerful moment before. Will they make use of it though? You can see them looking up to the skies.
Cherry denies Swiss an entire chance towards the finals. Pink has it. A big shot onto Jackson, but they can't find the body. Just to Elam. A few more splashes left. They can take another pit stop. Nebs is still there with full shields. They're looking for it. They can just survive a bit longer. They can control that top 5. Tripini still alive. He's towards the backside of zone. Big shockwave hammer, and he goes straight towards the ground. Nope. Catches himself right towards the right side. Donde is gonna go down. Cherry taking out another big player. Nebs and Pink have control.
They're still in this game. And there is just one team that looks to be a threat to them up above on height. All Texas and Axel, so they're still in this one. And we know they like to play fight. They've been doing it all day, and this might just be their moment. The shockwave hammer is ready. He's lining it up, and he's looking for Axel from a big shot to Siren. They might just take it now.
It's huge. Siren goes down. Milan is one. They just be up top.